Welcome to PHP Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we're on episode 258.
Yeah.
And the
258.
The reason I said it that way is the episode we're having today, we kind of had a similar episode back on episode 58.
Oh, interesting. So
And we called that episode It's All Good.
200 episodes later, you know, some things change and some things stay the same.
Well, and it's not the same episode at all. I remember going back because here's the thing. There's always stuff to talk about when it comes to reselling, but a lot of it can get repetitive after a while, right? I mean, how many times have you watched YouTubers, right? The reselling influencers make videos where it's like how to get started on eBay. Guaranteed, if they've been doing YouTube videos for like at least 5 years, they've probably made that same video 4 times.
Or more, for sure.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's just, it's rinse, cycle, repeat. And so I hope that our, content is never that way. I hope we're always fresh and new and up to the times. Do you think we are? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're fresh.
We're fresh.
So fresh.
So fresh. All right. Speaking of so fresh, like coffee, wanted to say we appreciate all of you for supporting us on buymeacoffee.com/purehustle. Mike, I think it's time for us to do another Zoom here pretty soon.
We should do one, yeah.
Okay. Next week, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. Let's talk about it.
Okay. All right. September, though.
Yeah, for sure. We'll do one. So for those of you who haven't joined us, it is not necessarily extra content, but it is a way for us to connect.
It's a virtual meetup.
Yeah, it's a way for us to connect with those who continually support us because we wouldn't be able to keep doing this if it wasn't for people like you saying, you know what, PHP Podcast has added value to my life, so I'm going to say thank you in a monetary way. And that's how we can keep literally the lights on.
No, seriously, at times, yeah, it's true. So again, buymeacoffee.com/purehustle. You can just say, hey, thank you for a great episode. Buy us a couple coffees, or you can sign up for the weekly, the monthly, the yearly membership. And in those memberships is when we message you as to when our Zooms are. It's sometimes people message us just a quick question. I would say, primarily still DM us on Instagram, but our main way of connecting with you to do those virtual meetups is on buymeacoffee.com/purehustle. See the link below. All right. So everyone's like, okay, get on with the episode. So here's the episode. I want to talk about keeping platforms on your side, not shoes, but selling platforms.
All right. You were trying to be punny there.
No,
Let us know in the comments below. Did you laugh out loud?
No one laughed. That was not even funny. I just wanted to make sure we were clear on what I was talking about.
Okay. Clarity. Okay.
No, that was a terrible. That wasn't even a dad joke. That was just lame.
Right. Well, I'm glad you see that. I was worried for you.
No.
But yeah, no, this is going to be a good episode because we want to make sure. I mean, when it comes down to it, you need to make money in reselling. You've got to play by the rules inside of the businesses you're using, the platforms you're using,
the sandbox.
And yeah, it's their sandbox. You got to play by their rules. And there are ways to make sure that we can optimize and that we're moving within that well and making the most money. And then even within that, making sure that things like communication with customers, how we present our stuff, all of that stuff has to be right. So that way we can optimize our profits. And at the end of the day, we're doing this because we want to be able to make some money, feed your family, go on vacation, whatever it is, pay the bills. So we want to make sure that we are following the right steps in order to increase profits. So what's first here?
All right. So first is don't try to shortcut the system, right? It's very easy when you're reselling. I think it's easier the longer you resell because you kind of figure out the ins and outs, right? When you're brand new, it's kind of when you first start driving, right? Your hands on the 10 o'clock and the 2 o'clock on the steering wheel. You're driving the speed limit. You're turning your signal, right? And then the more you start driving, right? You start, you lay back your seat a little bit more. You only have one hand on the steering wheel.
Yeah, you get more comfortable.
You get more comfortable driving faster. And that's what I feel happens in reselling. Now, there are some people that from the start try to shortcut the system and get around certain rules. But here's the deal. You will lose with platforms. Because platforms want to make money. And if they feel that you are jeopardizing their customer base, they will cut you off. And so first thing is here, make sure you're following the terms of service for every platform, right? Every platform, they're pretty clear. So what I mean by this, so condition standards, right? So on eBay, right, you can sell and use stuff, right? You can sell and use stuff on Amazon. But here's the thing. On eBay, you can always say, new in box. There's actually a drop down menu in certain categories where you can put new in box, right? Or you can even say new And then later on in your description, you can say something like box was open to make sure that all the contents could be found in the box. Or, you can you can write whatever you want. You could say new, but maybe try it on in the store a couple of times. Like I have some shoes that are like that. Like they're new, but they're somewhere on the soles because people did try them on in the store, right? But I can still list them like new.
Yeah. You maybe specifically certain things you might be a display model or something like that where, yeah, it's new. It wasn't like a return to the store, but yeah, it's you could tell it's been used in some sense. And so yeah, so making sure that you're following those policies and that you're not listing things incorrectly. I mean, one of the things that mistake I made often when I first started was just copying listings and making a few changes, but not realizing that I've got to go through and double check categories and things that they put, right? Because they might have put like a model number and mine was from like, it was printed a year later than theirs was printed if it's a book or something like that. And if you're off by a little bit, you're asking for issues because in reality, it's false advertisement, right? Like if you're posting something incorrectly, and it could be from ignorance, it could be from, you just made a mistake, but that's one of the reasons why you want to be very careful, because if you get enough of those, it's going to be a red flag for whether it's eBay or Amazon or whatever it is that you're not careful enough with your listings, or that you are flat out trying to deceive your customers. And that is a very bad place to be because we talk all the time about being a top rated seller, having a good reputation with eBay, having a good reputation with Amazon is going to come in your favor, and it's going to work out for you when there is that one-off situation where maybe a customer says something happened, it didn't happen. If you've got a good track record, you're going to be fine. But if you've got a track record of lots of items not as described, or not following their policies, and you posted the wrong pictures or something like that, you're going to be in a world of trouble.
Yeah, and I think about Amazon. Amazon is very, very clear that if something is brand new, it must be brand new. So it can't have a dent on the box. It can't have some of the plastic wrap coming off. It has to be new. Right, to the point, I mean, I can't think of how many times I have bought stuff for retail arbitrage on Amazon, and with my, Scotty peeler, I'm like taking off the tag and I accidentally like rip off the plastic or I cut into the box. And after that, it's done. Then it's going to eBay, right? Unless I list it as like new, right? But you got to be careful, because this is what I find too, is a lot of people where, they look at the condition standards, let's say books, and their book may not be that great, but they always want to sell it for more than it actually is. And so instead of saying that it's acceptable, they'll put, very good. And then the buyer gets it and they're like, this isn't very good. And then they give you bad feedback, and you call Amazon, or you message Amazon, or you use their feedback removal system, and you lost. Because the bottom line is, if you had just put it at acceptable, they couldn't make a case anymore, right? Because it's at the lowest grade and you should be good to go. But since you tried to, overpromise and you ended up under delivering, that puts you in a bad scenario. Okay. Also, listing requirements. So I'll give you an example. I know some individuals on eBay that once the $100 shoes with no fees came out, that only applied to athletic shoes. But a lot of people were putting every single pair of shoes on their athletic shoes, dress shoes, boots, hiking, all of it.
If you're walking around with a pair of Cole Haans at work all day, you might feel like you're being athletic. I mean, sometimes I get 10,000 steps in just as a teacher. So, who's to say that's not athletic? But we recognize that there are categories that are understood. So yeah, you got to be careful.
Well, what'll happen is, eventually they will penalize you. They'll suspend your listings. They'll suspend you. And, you might have been like, oh, I've sold so much. I've been such a good seller. But guess what? It only takes those few mistakes for that mistrust to happen and for eBay to just say, we're done. No more right now. Okay, no more. All right. And give you one more example, the idea of using stock pictures. So you got to be careful. This is one that I see broken all the time. And I'm not here to virtue signal and say I'm better than you, because I don't use stock pictures. I do use stock pictures, but usually they're like picture number 9. They're my last one. They're not my first one. Right. And eBay has very clear policies. There are some companies that are very adamant and they will do a Vero. So Vero is verified. Basically, it's companies that don't want you listing their items or using their pictures. And so they will make a claim with eBay and your listing will get pulled down, or you could end up suspended. And so be careful with stock pictures. Make sure you understand the terms of service. I know like on Poshmark, stock pictures is the way to go for a lot of people. But again, I honestly, I don't sell enough on Poshmark to know whether, Poshmark pulls those listings. But I do know that whether platforms do have their listing or not, you always got to be careful about stock photos.
Yeah, it's really good. Next part of this kind of goes to the idea of only selling items that are allowed. And you've got to really
sounds like common sense.
It is, but
you get comfortable.
And that, and also, like I said, there's this idea of ignorance in the sense of you don't always know all the things you can't sell. I can't tell you how many items I've put up and then had a Vero or something where it's like, I didn't realize this company didn't let me sell this item. Right. And the thing is, they don't catch everything, because I've gotten away with selling certain things where I haven't had a problem. And then one of my listings gets flagged. I get a message from eBay. They're taking this listing down. And then I'm stuck with this item because I'm not going to relist it. I've already been warned. But then a friend of mine or somebody else that I know has sold the exact same kind of item and had no problem with it. It's like they've listed this item, they sold it, and it's like, man, maybe I should just give mine to sell. But it's the thing of, I know if I were to list it again, I can't claim ignorance anymore because I've been warned. Even if I don't feel like it's fair, I'm at a place where I can't. So I think eBay for the most part is pretty good. I mean, the first time you list something incorrectly, I mean, for instance, I'll give you an example. There was like a paper towel dispenser, brand new in box, company that you like, those ones, the motion ones, like at like restaurants or anywhere you go, like you just dry your hand. So it was a paper towel dispenser, motion, like activated, and I listed it.
The
and
super loud ones.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, this company doesn't let this item be sold. Like their brand name was like, you can't use our brand name. And so I couldn't sell this item anymore, and eBay just took it down. It wasn't like I was punished for it. Like, we're going to suspend your account or anything like that. However, if I were to list again, now I might be in trouble. Right. So let's be honest. I mean, when you get anything, a new app on your phone, and it's like terms and conditions, nobody's reading all 300 pages of that and actually understanding all the legalese, because most of it is purposely written to not really be able to be easily understood. So there are certain things that become common knowledge, right? Like you can't use Velcro. You can't use that term. You can't use onesie, right? There's certain things you can't do because it's trademarked or branded. So if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world, but you've got to be careful if you continue to do it, trying to manipulate the situation, or even things that, again, it's frustrating because I've seen people who they have whole companies that basically all they sell is like pirated audiobooks or pirated video games. And it's frustrating to me because it's like they make so much money and I could easily be doing the same thing. But all it's going to take is that they get caught, they get pulled down, and they're starting a new one. And, they're based in somewhere else and they're kind of going around the black market to make this stuff happen. And I just know that I'm not going to do that because I've got my account linked to my PayPal, linked to my IP address. I'm not, using VPNs going through, other countries. And so ethically, you've got to be careful not to sell things that aren't allowed, because all it takes is that one time, and you might have 2 or 3 stores that are all above water. But if one of them gets pulled like that, they can nail all of your stores.
Correct. Another way you could do this too, and I'm not trying to teach you guys how to do this, but like on Amazon, you'll see something restricted, but then you'll find the same item that's selling and it's a higher rank. So what happened is that a seller couldn't get approved, and so they switched a few keywords, and so it ended up under the radar, and now they could sell it. But if Amazon tracks that, you're going to put yourself in a bad situation in 2 ways. Number one, Amazon can suspend you. And number 2, you have all this inventory now that you can't sell, right? So again, this goes again with Mike saying, hey, everything gets shut down. Is it worth it? And it kind of leads to the last point under our idea of not shortcutting the system is you have to treat your business as if you're in it for the long haul. And I think a lot of new sellers don't think of it this way, right? When you're new, when you're doing side hustle, I remember when I first started eBay, I only had, I remember it was a shock to my friends when I told them I had 43 listings and they're like, what, 43? Right. And, I never intended to be a full-time seller. That was never my goal. Now, luckily, I had, people I listened to, their podcasts or YouTubers I watched that always were pretty adamant about, make sure that you keep 100% feedback. Make sure you do your best to make things right with the customer, because you never know. This may be something that turns into something bigger. And so you got to treat it that way. Even if it's at a loss, let's say, and we'll talk about this later, but let's say you have a buyer and you sent something and it was damaged and you missed it. And it was maybe, let's go higher. Let's say it's $100 item, right? And it was totally your fault. And to ship it back, you're going to lose another $50. So you may spend $50 to get back half of that, right? You'll get $50 back if they return it. But then this, you were in the wrong. This buyer, let's say it was like a birthday present for their grandmother who's, not doing well, or whatever the circumstance is, it's very dire. Is it worth getting that negative feedback? Is it worth somebody writing on that feedback page like, worst seller ever, totally missed a flaw, ruined my grandma's birthday party? Right? I know it sounds kind of silly, but I'm just trying to make a point here that, maybe it's just better off to say, I'm so sorry that happened. Here's a full refund, do with what you want. And you're like, ooh, $50. But you know what? Spending that $50 to keep that 100% feedback, which will lead to greater sales, to me, it's worth it. It's worth it for the long haul. It's worth it in the long run. Am I a little extreme on that one?
No, I think that's good. I think for the most part, that's going to be the best case scenario, is that you recognize that if you see it as a business, business has been significant amounts of money on things like advertisement, on things like branding. And we really don't have to deal with that. We don't have to advertise. We don't have to deal with branding so much, but we do have a brand, right? Your store is a representation of who you are as a seller. And so taking a loss here and there is, in the grand scheme of things, not a big deal. Now, like you said, if you're just starting out and you feel like, hey, I'm just trying to make an extra, $1,000 to, go on this trip that I'm trying to do and go to Disneyland, then you might think like, who cares if I have one negative feedback? But you might realize like, hey, I'm in this and it's actually, worth it for me to lose some time or money in order to, one, learn a lesson potentially, and two, keep my store in good standing.
Yeah. Sure. So I strongly encourage you, if you're brand new and you're trying to figure out, I just sold a pair of boots. Sorry.
Good job.
I just bought these at a garage sale too.
Nice. Are they the ones that are in there?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
It's always nice, right? When you flip right away. All right. Sorry for the side note. Maybe we'll edit for the first time. I'm just joking. We never edit, do we?
Yeah. Not unless, there's something crazy happening.
Unless I swear on the podcast, which I never swear.
No,
so
yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey,
restroom breaks or something like that. We might edit it out.
We kind of need some air conditioning right now in here.
That would be nice.
I forgot to turn it on.
That's all right.
All right. So here's the thing. I want to make sure if you're a new seller, you might hear from someone like, oh, as long as you do this, you're going to be okay. You're never going to get caught. Whenever you hear something about you're never going to get caught, that should be a red flag. Cause I know so many resellers that just started eBay as a side thing or Amazon as a side thing, and now they're full time. And had they just gone, oh, you know what? I don't care if my feedback rating's at 50%, right? They would have probably given up reselling because their sales would have slowed down. The algorithm wouldn't be pushing buyers to their items and they would have been done. But if you just keep it clean and move forward, I'm not guaranteeing, not financial advice, but chances are you're going to be doing pretty well if you keep your reputation in good standing.
Good stuff.
All right. Now let's talk about dealing with bad buyers, right? Because you can't avoid dealing with bad buyers.
Yeah, bad buyers are part of business, but it's frustrating. And let me tell you, like, one of the things that's really helped with in general is kind of the paradigm shift that, one, it's not personal. It's not like a direct attack towards me. And then two, like when you're out in public and maybe this is a messed up thing to kind of think about, but you go to a grocery store, you go to a gas station, and you just see the tomfoolery that people get involved in, like just the nonsense.
Going with the old school vocab there.
The things people get upset.
The chicanery.
The things people get upset about. Like you go into a gas station and somebody's taking too long, and someone starts swearing, and they get out of their car, and then they're throwing a fit, and then they are dumping water all over the place, or whatever the nonsense you see, and you're like, you know what? These people are sometimes going to be my customers, right? Like there are just people in the world that are they're never happy. They have other issues going on in life. And so recognizing when you get especially a message from somebody, because I had one the other day where somebody bought something and then after they bought it, they sent a message that I really couldn't answer about, like something about the pants, the way they would fit and how high up on the hips they go. And it's like, I hear the measurements. Like, I don't know, and they were like, cancel the order. I refuse to buy from somebody who doesn't even know their pants and blah, blah. And it's like, okay, like order canceled. And I went on with my day, but I could have been like really upset. Like, oh, how dare this person? Like I gave the measurements and are you saying that I'm trying to sell, items that are not good and not quality? And it's not a big deal, So a lot of times when you get a message like that, you let it go off your back, and you, as much as you can, you just assume the best. You assume, hey, maybe they're, maybe something did happen,
maybe they had some bad buys where they bought from somebody else and the measurements were off.
Yeah. Or somebody gets something, they're like, this was broken in shipping. And the first thing you want to do is like take it personally, like, oh, like I packed it right. Cause sometimes it does feel like it's a personal attack on you, and sometimes it is. But if you just think like, well, sometimes the UPS, the USPS, they run stuff over with their trucks. Like things can, like anything can happen.
Well, yeah, you don't know. I mean, this reminds me. So Craigslist Hunter just dropped a video a few days ago about, he had to actually pull a video so he put a video and he thought he was getting scammed. He sold some kind of Oral-B toothbrushes or something. You guys can go watch it. And our first interview, by the way, still, we need to have him back on. Did we have him back on a second time?
I thought we had him a second time.
It's
Maybe
been
not.
so long since we got to do interviews again. Let us know in the comments. Do you want to see interviews again? It's been a minute. So I don't know. We go back and forth on that. Now, so Craigslist Hunter had sold a Oral-B like toothbrush. And the person had messaged him and said, hey, your listing said, you have 2 of these. I only received 1. And so Craigslist Hunter is like, what kind of scam is this guy running, right? And so, he put a whole video and he gets thousands of views pretty quick, right? Kind of like Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm just joking. So then he started, people, and maybe some of you saw this video and you commented and they said, hey, Pete, sometimes eBay takes your listings and they create your own listings on Google. And that might have been what happened. So sure enough, Craigslist Hunter went back in and he Googled the item, and sure enough, his listing came up, but eBay replaced his picture, changed like the UPC, and said that he had 2 of them for sale. So it wasn't even, so luckily Pete never assumed the worst about the person. Pete just had a, conversation over the messages like, hey, I'm pretty sure my listing said 1. Why do you think it's a 2? And, da-da-da. And he could have gone down the road of like, he could have directly said, you're a scammer, you're trying to scam me. But he didn't go down that road, right? So in the end, he was able to resolve everything. And it was actually on eBay side that the error happened, right? So it doesn't always happen that way. There are real scammers. There are people trying to get the best of you. But it's always best. Remember, we're talking about keeping platforms on your side, right? So if eBay or Amazon sees that you actually make an attempt, right, to treat the customer right, to want them to be a repeat buyer, you're not going to assume the worst of them in your messages. You're going to assume the best, and then let the platform sort all that out. Kind of make sense? Yeah. All right. Also, sometimes it's better to solve the issue before messaging, right? How many times have you come across something and you're like, oh, like I missed that flaw, or you're out of stock on something, right? Or for whatever reason, like the pricing is off. And I say solve it before messaging because right away your inclination is like, I'm going to message this buyer, right? I don't have it in stock. I'm not going to, I just got to tell them right away. Or you may, this has a flaw. They need to know right away. But here, there's also other options, right? You can solve it before you message.
I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm a little confused with where you're going with this.
Okay, so what I mean is sometimes like you don't find something right away, right? And so and I know myself.
I get that part, but how do you solve it before you message them?
Because you could message them right away and say, I cannot find this item. Please let me know if you want to make cancel. Or you could understand that getting a ding for late shipping is better than getting an out of stock ding.
Right, but if you, let's say,
so you take extra time,
that would be maybe if you can't find it, you take extra time to find it. But like, let's say you sold a pair of shoes and then you realize like, oh, the sole is actually falling off of these. They got bad in storage. How do you solve that before messaging them?
Well, that one you can't.
Okay.
It doesn't.
I didn't know if there was like.
No. Keep it real. That doesn't apply for every scenario, right? Or let's say you're out of stock, right? So on Amazon before, I've had items that were out of stock. So how did I solve that? Well,
it's not about more. You drop shipped.
I drop shipped. Right. I bought it from an eBay seller. I made sure I updated my address and they shipped it to the buyer and things were good. Right. So I never had to message them. So I solved it before messaging. Does that make sense now?
Yeah.
Now, drop shipping is, it's kind of
super gray area.
It is a gray area. It's your own risk, right? You got to take your risk. I will drop ship more on Amazon that I will on eBay. And again, this goes contrary to our terms of service.
Yeah.
Right.
So go back to what we said originally. Ignore that. Break the terms of service.
But what I'm saying is try to find the solution, right? Like, don't be hasty in your response, right? One of the best tools that we have right now is eBay coupons. And I used it the other day. I had an item that I was out of stock on. And before I ever messaged them, I created a coupon. Now I have a special coupon that whenever I'm out of stock, I give them the coupon. I'm sorry, this item was not available. Enjoy this 20% off coupon till the end of the year on any item up to $100, right? And so I will send that before I ever message them. So then when I message them, I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry, this item is out of stock. Please let me know if you'd like me to cancel or we can cancel it and you can purchase another item with the 20% coupon I recently sent you.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. And kind of goes into the next point, which is offering above and beyond customer service, right? When you can offer customer service that is above and beyond. I mean, I've sold things before where it's looked complete or something, I've tested it and things worked, and then it gets to them and everything's fine except for, the power cable, like the connection isn't like going in right. And they're like, hey, like you sold this and it turns on, but the power cable is like really loose or something wrong with it. And what I've done in the past for items like that is got a couple options. One, I can refund you. You can ship it back. Two, I found a power cable for this item. They're $5. I can send it to you. And I've sent them separately, like a purchase on Amazon or eBay. And like, here's the tracking information. It should be to you soon. And then, a couple days later, I get a message like, hey, it came, it works perfectly. Thank you so much. So I lost like $6 or $7 after paying $5 for the cable plus the shipping. So I lost a little bit of money on the sale, but I end up getting like really positive feedback, right? Mm-hmm. Of this is a seller who went above and beyond. And so when you do that and you offer that, customers aren't always going to take that, right? They might say like, no, this is not as described, and they get upset. But when you're offering that kind of service, chances are higher that a customer is going to respond well to that. They see that you're willing to make things right. And two, even if they don't see it, eBay sees that or Amazon sees
and that's
that.
the thing, keeping platforms on your side, right? So again, with the drop shipping or replacing the offer, that actually was for my emergency scenario section. Gotcha. We got into it earlier. So, okay, but here, I'll give you another example. So last week I had somebody that bought 6 buckles. Right. And it was an awesome sale. They're like, and I showed this on Instagram. They're like, hey, can I get these buckles? I created a new listing for them. And when I got to my 6th buckle, I was out of stock. So I was like, oh no, what do I do? So I messaged the buyer. I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry for this. Unfortunately, this buckle is no longer available. Here's what I'll do for you. I'm going to refund you the price of the buckle. On top of that, I'm also going to give you free shipping. So you don't have to pay for the shipping due to the inconvenience. And on top of that, here's another 20% coupon on any other buckle you would like later on. And it worked out perfect. Feedback worked out. Person was happy. And maybe I have a return buyer, right? Even though I messed up. So you want to offer that next level customer experience. And sometimes it does cost you. Right. And again, I always want to be real about this. Like Mike and I have made a lot of mistakes in reselling. I think I've made more than Mike. But, the idea is you want to minimize those mistakes up front. And that's a whole nother episode. But when you're on the other end, right, you're kind of at the mercy of the buyer. Like you don't want that negative feedback. It's not worth it to you. Right. Because it's going to hurt your sales. You don't want eBay hearing about it, because once a buyer opens a case on eBay and it escalates it, that makes it worse for you. You want to end it at the very bottom of the communication trail where it's just you and the buyer and only within 1 or 2 messages. So, all right, we got a few more things to talk about. But before we move on, I do want to talk about our great sponsors, which now we do have a code.
Whoa.
You still use the link to buy, but our code is Pure Hustle Podcast for AmericanBubbleBoy.com. So again, AmericanBubbleBoy.com, and our code is Pure Hustle Podcast. Now you might ask,
is that all one word?
It's all one word.
Pure Hustle Podcast. That's a great partnership because one of the great things about Pure Hustle Podcast is we try to keep things real and relevant, and we try and optimize people's business. And one of the things that's optimized our business quite a bit has been American Bubble Boy. The fact that we can get incredible bubble wrap quickly at an amazing price. I mean, you can't beat it. I used to have to go to the store. I'd go to the U-Haul store to get paper, and I'd go to Walmart to get bubble wrap. And now I don't have to worry about that. It's just, it comes in the mail when I need it, whatever size I need, whatever style I need, and it's there within 2 days. Good stuff. I love it.
Now, the reason you want to use the code is some prices might have gone up due to inflation, due to supply chains and so on, but this will still get you the best discount. Okay. So please, you make sure to use Pure Hustle Podcast. Helps you out, helps us out, helps all of us out. It's a great relationship. And actually, I need to order some more. So I need to order another 4-foot roll. I love that roll. It's good. All right. Hey, before moving on, if you have not been following us on social media, we are Pure Hustle Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We are Pure Hustle Cast on Twitter and on, was it Clubhouse?
Are we on
No,
Clubhouse?
no, I have not been on Clubhouse. No, I haven't been on Clubhouse in 3 months. Let us know in the comments, how many of you still get on Clubhouse? I feel like Clubhouse was big when, we couldn't leave our homes. But I think it's been done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it still has got a pretty good following for different niches, but we're just not active on there. I mean, we could probably get a MySpace account too, but we're never going to use it, so we don't need to talk about it.
Well, actually, I want to see. Let's see how many followers we have on Clubhouse right now. It's probably dead. No, look, it's been so long. The app isn't even on my phone anymore. It's like, how iPhone sometimes removes your app if you're not using it. That's what happened. It has to reinstall. Never mind.
Apple for telling me what I can do on my phone.
I know. It's the era we live in. People telling us what to do. All right. Hey, also, you can give us a call, 619-738-1170, 619-11. Sorry, I'm laughing. Somebody called you and said, did you see that? Hey, Mike, please call me back.
Oh, yeah. I did get that. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't quite sure about that.
Yeah. So if you ever call us, make sure it's reselling related and you leave the topic behind.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
because
tell us what the call is about. For sure.
I mean, anyways, I just thought that was, and no offense to anyone. I just thought that was.
Well, the funny thing is too, those phone calls, it's a Google Voice number. And so it rings on my phone sometimes, like when we get the call that comes through.
Oh, really?
And
yeah,
it comes,
I have to turn mine off.
It comes in a little bit different. So like, it's not like my normal phone, but it still looks like a phone ringing. So I'm driving down the car, on my property from my in-laws' house down to our house. And so my son's on my lap, and my hands are full, and my wife is like holding my phone because she's like, whatever reason, and it starts ringing. And I know she's like, oh, I don't recognize this number. It's coming from whatever state. And I've been getting so many like crazy spam calls. And so I know she's about to answer it and like say something crazy on the phone because, that's just the things we do. We get spam calls now. You say something like Domino's Pizza, or, you kind of troll them a little bit. And I was like, no, don't answer. And she's like, why? And she's like about to answer. I'm like, don't answer. So I can just imagine somebody calling our Pure Hustle podcast line and her answering Domino's Pizza. So, or no, she was going to say San Diego Police Department, because we've been getting some pretty crazy spam calls, and that they usually hang up with that one.
Okay.
So if you ever call us and somebody answers San Diego Police Department, just understand that was a mistake. You could still call and leave a message.
All right. Also, you can, did I give the number? 619-738-1170. You could also shoot us an email, which one of our hustle of the week comes from an email today at purehustlepodcast@gmail.com.
We're a little behind on some emails too. So if we haven't responded to your email yet, hang tight.
I got one left. I think I'm caught up.
All
so
right.
I had to answer stuff from like July.
Oof.
Because people emailed, and then I got hit with the sickness, and then, just things went downhill from there. So, hey, also, purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. And if you're listening to us and you haven't caught our YouTube, make sure to run on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and hit that bell notification so you're notified whenever we drop an episode on a Saturday, on a Monday. And again, always want to say thank you for all the iTunes reviews. We are the largest reselling podcast out there and the most reviewed. And we hit the 500 club.
Woo, woo, woo.
So it's funny because somebody said number 499, but we're at 502.
Well, so that's leaving a review, but yeah, so they must have made it in before we made it to that point.
All right, so let's check out the last two just to celebrate. Okay. All right. So, two people thought they left 499.
Oh man, it was a race to 499.
So let's go to 498. I wonder if this is I thought this was Victor, one of our early listeners from back in the day. It says genuine resellers. It's true. We are genuine, honest and easy to listen to resellers, informative and entertaining from beginning to end, covers a lot of different topics that helps beginners and seasoned resellers. If you're looking for the best reselling podcast out there, you found it, Vic. Thank you, Vic. This one is from King Clove. And they put $4.99.
Nice.
And they said, made it in the 500 club today, baby. Yes, you did. Thanks for all the informative content. Keep it coming. Thank you. Really appreciate that, King Club. All right, and here's 5 stars for the 500 club, number 499, which I think you might have been 500. So
yeah, we might need to have like a battle royale. You two can face off against each other to see who really was 499.
So this is from Wiseberry, and they said, new seller, love your podcast, my favorite reselling eBay related show. You guys are great and always keep it real. Found the show recently and have been binge listening while I source and list. Thank you guys. If you feel up to it, shout out my eBay store. We can he wanted it. It's on there. It's on the iTunes reviews. All right, we'll do this. Smart marketing, by the way, my friends. Smart marketing. Not everybody's gonna put that in their reviews.
Yeah. If you want us to shout out your eBay store, go ahead and throw it in there in your review, and we'll shout it out. Why not?
All right, so it is Wiseberry, WISEBURY, authentic attire. Username is _Wiseberry, WISEBURY. Said it would make their month. Coming from 2 reselling celebrities.
Oh man, so you know what? I've heard of other people doing like help out, a fellow reseller, that type of thing. We don't have anything specific like that, but everybody should go check out the store, see if there's something in his store that you'd be interested in. Give it a buy, right? Like help out your fellow reseller, another listener to Pure Hustle Podcast. That'd be super sweet. And if you want to,
what are we starting here, Mike?
Hey, I think it's cool, right? Like we've got. That's what I love about this podcast and this community is we're a community, right? Like we've met so many people. We've had so many great conversations with people, learned so much from other people. So yeah, I love it. Share the love. You guys are awesome. And if you feel like you've missed out because you didn't get to leave a review before we made it to 500, you missed out a little bit. But like the old saying goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today, right? So if you miss the 500 club, you don't want to be the person who's like, 10 years from now, like I could have been number 505, but instead I waited. Now they're at 10,000 and you missed all of those clubs since then. So if you want to make it into the 600 club, if you want to leave a review before we get to 600, you're going to want to do that quickly because that opportunity might be gone forever. And yeah, why not leave your eBay store name or your Instagram name in there? That'd be a good way to connect with other resellers and find people who are like-minded. So
there you go. But awesome. Thank you to everyone, whether you just left a 5-star, not thankful for the 1-star, but if you left a 5-star or you left a great review, we're grateful for you. Thank you. All right. It is time for Oh man, we kind of got skipped a little.
Let's listen to the whole thing. Come on, hustlers. It's the freaking hustle of the week. Yeah. All right. So we love our hustles of the week. And our first one comes from Jen, IG handle at Jen's Deals. That's Jen's _deals. So I was shopping at the thrift and came across a pair of leggings, but noticed that they were colorful with a Peloton logo. Interesting. I don't even know if I've ever thought about like Peloton or that kind of stuff apparel. That's interesting.
I've sold shoes before. We talked about shoes.
Yeah, the shoes. Researched them and found out that they were a rare instructor. So Emma Lovewell was the instructor. Collab piece that sold for good money. Paid $6 and listed them on eBay for $2.99 and sold with the best offer.
$240.
Oh, sorry. The best offer of $240.
Yeah.
Holy cow. That's awesome. The fact that you did the research and found that it was like a rare thing. And that's something you should do too. If you're in a niche and you see things and then you see something that's unique or different, definitely check it out. Because there's probably been a lot of times I've sold items, shoes, clothes like that were special, unique collabs, and I sold them too cheap because I didn't do the research. But doing the research and realizing this isn't just a pair of Peloton leggings, but it's a unique special collab that, maybe there's only so many of them made. That then becomes keywords because a customer might know, and if you didn't put that stuff, they're getting a sweet deal, right? But if you know, you can also help out that person who's looking for it, and it allows them to find it easier. So that's interesting. I'll have to keep an eye out for Peloton leggings if they're super colorful.
Yeah, no LuLaRoe.
Yeah. Stay away from LuLaRoe. Except, you can do it if you get. The hard part is
like 5 cents.
No, and it's true. I have had that happen at garage sales where I've like bought hundreds of pieces for like 20 or 30 bucks. And then it's great because if they sell for $7, I'm still making good money because I paid, 10 cents for them or whatever. But most people who are still trying to offload their Lulu Row stuff still want to sell it at like original Lulu Row prices.
I know. All right. So great. Thank you so much, Jen. All right. Next comes George, IG handle Buffalo Centric. His first Instagram post was his hustle of the week.
Ooh, nice.
So go show Buffalo Centric on IG some love. Went to an estate sale with his wife and came across a set of Babysitters Club books, about 111 in total.
Wow.
Okay. When I was a kid, my mom at Costco bought me a set of Babysitters Club books.
Interesting. Did you read them?
No. Like, I don't even know.
If you'd have read them, I'd be a little bit worried.
I'm just not sure why she bought,
And maybe she just knew you liked reading, and so it's like, here's books.
Anyways, they always have a special place in my heart because of that story. So George and his wife came across 111 Babysitters Club books, listed them on eBay after paying only $10 at the estate sale, and sold them for $400 plus ship.
Yeah, man, when you can get a set like that, like sets of books,
I love selling those. Like the Hardy Boys or what's the Nancy Drew, like all those collections are money. You just got to do that research.
And another set that I'm going to be on the lookout for now. I don't know if you caught my latest garage sale video. Is the
I like those
Fraggle Rock.
I was like, where's Mike going with this Fraggle Rock? But if you find a good amount of them,
if you get a set of Fraggle Rock books. So again, it's one of those things where if you can get a set of something, some sets are not worth it, but if sets of Fraggle Rock, I would have not known, but I just randomly looked one book up and I'm like, holy cow, these sell.
I was more intrigued by your Buddy L. Like, I love finding Buddy L. Like,
not my Otis Spunkmeyer.
No, that was cool too. But the Otis Spunkmeyer is going to be your moneymaker. So if you haven't caught the YouTube, I'm going to make Mike do this. So if you go up here, this link will take you to that YouTube video to watch. So.
Also, some of those manga, man, I said one of them. I said like they sell for like $40 a piece. I have two of them that sell for $100 a piece.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, you made your money.
I bet whole box of them for.
So check out that video. Definitely worth your time. All right. Thank you so much, George at Buffalo Centric on Instagram. Great sale with those Babysitter Club books.
All right. Our next one is from an email. All right, let's see this one. It's actually my first time reading this email. Did this come in today?
Yeah, today. Like literally at 10:50 something in the morning, and it's 5 in the afternoon or evening.
I'm already liking this one because the title of it is "Thank You, Mike, for the Bolo."
Yeah, that's why I thought we should share. Why not?
All right, so here we go. Hey guys, love listening to you, and it was quite cool that you read my review on the podcast recently.
Oh, nice. You get double dipping here.
That's right. I was the one who said you guys don't show off flashy cars like it's typical of male resellers. It seems. Yeah, it's true. And yes, Mike, you should show off your 99 Toyota 4. I know, it's such a cool. I mean, I had no idea it was cool. Like it's trendy, and I didn't know it was trendy until afterwards. So I think that would be awesome. All right. I'm not a gamer, but I've listened to Mike talk about board games for serious gamers. I found this one in a photo below for $5 at the store that shall not be named. Dun, dun, dun. Sold in a week for $86 plus $8 shipping. It was a brand new and sealed. Not sure if this makes Hustle of the Week. Absolutely does. Let's see what it is. It is, Sheriff of Nottingham. Really? Okay, so I have Sheriff of Nottingham, and wow, $86 and $8 shipping. I wonder if they sell for that used, because that's a game I don't really play very often. It's a pretty fun game, but $86 plus $8 shipping, which is pretty interesting because Sheriff of Nottingham was a game that was actually at Target for a while, and it probably went on clearance at Target, and they probably were selling for like $15 to $20 brand new. So the fact that they're going for $86 now, that's super impressive. And the fact that you got it for $5 and new to sell it instead of I definitely wouldn't pay $86 for Sheriff of Nottingham. So good call. Some games I get and it's hard for me to sell, but yeah, I mean, board games, and that's a good example, right? Like, it's not the Monopolies, it's not the Twisters, it's not the Clues, though sometimes if you get like an old school, really good condition, I've definitely sold those. But it's if you want to know what I'm talking about, and you've got a Barnes & Noble in your area, most Barnes & Nobles have like a game section now, and you just look in their game section and you will see the kinds of games I'm looking at. Like, really serious, hardcore gamers are into them. And a lot of times these games the bottom level price on most of these games is like $50, $50 to $100. So even used, if you can get them at a garage sale, because a lot of times a serious gamer is never going to sell it. But somebody who thinks that they're going to play it, or they buy it as a gift and they maybe play it one time, So you can be pretty sure they're usually complete because most people play it one time or they try to play it and they're like, this game's too complicated. They put it back in the box and they sell it at a garage sale. So that's an awesome hustle of the week. And you know what? I'm probably going to be listing my Sheriff of Nottingham. So good job.
There you go. Thank you, Megan W., for shooting us an email. All right. I want to hear your hustle of the week.
All right. So my hustle of the week, it actually comes from a story from a few weeks ago. I was at a garage sale and I mentioned it on the podcast when we talked about when people say like, pay whatever you want.
Oh,
It gets a little awkward when it's like, because I'm donating this money to some cause, right? And I bought a trunk scanner, I guess is what you would call it, like a kind of like a CB type receiver. And it had like NASCAR logo on it too. But I ended up paying, I think, it was somewhere between $2 and $5. It might have been $5, but it might have been $2. I can't remember. And usually that's about, I'd probably pay somewhere between $5 to $10 if it like had box, manual, and like I knew that it was tested and working. This lady didn't know. She's like, I don't know if it works. I don't know if anything about it. And so I ended up paying, I think it was $2 just because when you don't know, right? Like it's hard to take that risk. Well, I took it home. I tested it. I went through all the channels. Things worked, kind of cleaned it up a little bit. And it sold for like $96, I think.
Nice.
It was like 86 plus. It was actually more than that because I think it was like 86 plus like $14 shipping. So it ended up selling for a really good amount, over $100, and for a $2 pickup. And again, I was willing to take that bet. Maybe I would have paid $5 for something, not knowing if it worked, but it's one of those things where you just never know. And so the fact that I took it home, tested it, and it took a while. I mean, I went through all the channels, I cleaned it up, I made sure all the different settings worked. So I took that risk and it definitely paid off.
Nice. Yeah, I got to tell you, garage sales, man.
No,
garage
for
sales.
sure.
So just went this past weekend. I had some good finds. All right. So I wanted to update Hustle Week. Did I mention all the baseball gloves I bought that one time? Right. So I wanted to update on that one for my Hustle Week. So if you remember, I don't remember how many I bought. I want to say it was like at the bottom end, 130, on the high end, over 150. Now, I bought a bunch of gloves for a total of $200. Right. And some of them, were $1 gloves, some were $2 gloves. But initially, right, they're supposed to be for, I think, $6 each. And then I asked if I bought them all, would you make me a deal? And then they had more gloves in the back that were like selectively priced at like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. But since they saw me buy all the cheaper gloves, she just said, you know what, I'll make you a deal and I'll sell you all these ones in back too for the same price. So I have been selling some of these gloves. So I paid about $200 for all the gloves, right? And this was late June. I looked at the day, it was June 26th. But I already made my money back and I'm in profit. And with only 13 gloves sold. Okay. So if you do the math, so you got to go back to that podcast, but I want to say, let's say I bought 150 gloves. Okay. I can't remember the exact number. I did have to trash about like 10 or 12 of them. There's too much flaking going on. They're just, and I don't know, part of me is like, maybe I should have still listed them, because here's the deal. I've always said people do not mind if gloves are messed up, if they're broken in, if they're discolored. Like some people like old gloves just to keep like in their office or their den or their man cave, whatever you want to call it, as like it was a glove that they had growing up, right? Some people like buying gloves broken in already because they don't want to have to deal with the process of rubber banding it, putting it under your mattress or whatever you do. Do people still do that to breaking gloves? I don't even know anymore.
Who knows?
So out of these pairs, right, I said I sold 13 of them already for $315. So some of these gloves sold for $20, some of them sold for $40, some sold for $30, but I only paid $2. Plus I'm charging padded flat rate shipping of $8 for each of them. So if you do the math there, right, let's say we take out that 13, right, I'm already in the profit. I still have profit to be made on 122 more pairs of gloves. Right. So you always want to find those deals where you can buy a lot and you already earn the profit within a few items. That's how our garage sales go. Like every single time I go to garage sales, I'm hoping that I only have to sell one item, and whatever money I sold that day is already going to be covered. So for example, this last Saturday, if you caught our Instagram story, I think I can either sell a mixer, which actually the cowboy boots I just sold. So I bought a mixer, I bought a vintage San Antonio Spurs jersey, a graphics card, a bunch of shirts, cowboy boots, all for $90. I've already sold a pair of cowboy boots for $75 plus ship. So all I have to sell is one more item And everything I'll probably be $400 or $500 in profit. The mixer itself alone is probably going to sell for close to $200. So you always want to make sure when you're garage selling, look for those big deals, try to bundle, and see. The easiest way to see if it's profitable is if you can make your money back within a few items selling. So that is my hustle of the week.
It's good stuff, man. Holy cow! So I looked up that Sheriff of Nottingham. Used right now on eBay, they're selling for like $60, which is crazy because it's way more than it sold for new at Target when they were new. But look at what they're going for on Amazon and Walmart. 179 new on Amazon, 244. I have no idea why. I mean, something must have came out recently. I mean, it's only got a 7.1 star on Board Game Geek, so it's not like the greatest game ever. But I think I'm probably going to sell mine and buy a better game. So yeah, that's cool.
All right, so that's a bolo for you too.
That's right.
Okay. All right, hey, before we move on, one of the ways that we're constantly able to have our smooth domes for the podcast ready is by using skullshaver.com.
Yeah, skull shavers are great. I love using my skull shaver. I use it every morning now. I know Orlando switched to every other day, but he's a full-time reseller, so he doesn't have to worry about it as much as I do.
I don't have to worry about my hygiene. Is that what you're saying?
Just kidding. But yeah, so I mean, it's quick, it's easy. It's painless, and you can use it wet in the shower. You can use it dry. I've started using it dry, and it works so fast. It works great, easy to clean. So definitely check it out. If you're a bald beauty like us, get yourself a skull shaver, and it even works on your face. I mean, I use it on the lower part of my neck, and it's one less thing I have to worry about shaving.
And no neck beards here.
Yeah, that's right.
So again, that's skullshaver.com. Link below, and use our promo code PURE, PURE, to get that discount. All right, let's talk about emergency scenarios. Okay, right? Because you want to keep platforms on your side even when things are bad, right? And we just we're gonna do a whole mini-sode about this next week about returns. And listen, offering returns is your best friend to keep platforms on your side, right? Now on Amazon, it's non-negotiable. Like you have to accept the return. Right. You may get a message about like approving a return, but you might as well just put it on auto approve, because Amazon, I'm telling you, they are the worst platform to work with to resolve things with buyers. You might as well just accept that return and avoid that negative feedback. Now with eBay, and I've said this a lot, is that, to be a top rated seller, you have to offer 30-day returns. Doesn't have to be free. I'm a big fan of free returns, but you don't have to offer free. You can just do 30-day returns. But I will tell you, every time I've gotten negative feedback and the buyer has never contacted me, all I have to do is get on the phone with eBay or message eBay via messaging on Facebook, eBay for Business Podcast. Say, hey, listen, I sold an item. Everything was fine. I offer returns. The buyer never said anything. They never, wanted to return the item. I messaged them. I said, hey, you're able to return it. They haven't gotten back to me. I'm hoping that we can get the negative feedback removed, because I've done everything in my power to make things right. And every single time eBay has been willing to remove it. Right. So returns, I know people all the time are like, no way, you cannot. Listen, it's the one definite way that eBay cannot say, no, you didn't try to make things right with the buyer. If you just say you can return it for a full refund, that shows the platform you've done everything to make things right.
Yeah, and you get those seller protections too when you offer returns, and you don't have to offer free returns. You can offer, customer pays, shipment back. The only downfall with that is you potentially put yourself at risk for getting INADs that aren't INADs if a customer is just wanting to get the free return. Whereas if you just have free returns, you might not deal with that.
Yeah, I sold some babushka dolls. You know what those are?
Yeah, the little stacking.
Yeah, the stacking dolls. One. And then the reason for returning it doesn't fit.
Interesting.
If they're trying to get their their free shipping.
Well, I mean, maybe one of the nesting dolls didn't fit.
No, it all fit. The other one. It all fit. I packed it. I made sure it all fit. So I didn't have to do multiple babushka dolls. So, anyways,
was that like an interesting political set, or was it an actual?
No, it's really cool. I was at a garage sale and I picked up 4 sets, Cold War era from Russia, of all from the dictators of the Cold War. So it actually goes all the way to the first one of like Brezhnev. No, not Brezhnev. It goes to, I'm getting historical here, but I think it was Nicholas, right? Who was the guy that got overthrown? I should know this. I'm a history guy. Okay. All right. So I think it was Lenin overthrew Nick. I'm going to look it up. But anyways, it goes all the way from pre-Lenin to the end with Boris Yeltsin. So it has has everybody. So I was like, wow, this was pretty cool. And like they're like little tiny babushka dolls all the way through.
And speaking of babushka, I had a teacher friend who had a student who would randomly yell, "Babushka." And I think that's pretty funny.
Okay. All right. Now we have gone all over the place, and I can't find.
So if you need a replacement for a 4-letter word, you can just go "babushka." I think it's a good word.
Okay. Keeping it pure here.
That's right.
All right. I can't find the guy's name. All right. Anyways, let us know in the comments, all you history people out there, and tell Orlando that his master's was worthless now. Except my master's was not in Russian.
And
history.
you teach students?
I do. All right. I'm pretty sure it's our Nicholas, but I could be wrong. So you know the story of Rasputin?
Yeah.
That should trigger somebody's mind on memory. All right. So where were we? Okay. Now I already
just offering returns.
Okay. Now I did mention emergency scenario of drop shipping or replacing the offer. Okay. So let's not talk about drop shipping anymore, because that could cause some trouble. So let's not go there. All right. By the way, we could edit that out. You would never know, but we want to keep it real. Okay. Now, replacing the offer, right? That eBay is fine with. Like if you're out of stock with something and you offer to replace something, right? Now, it's not always going to work because eBay really hates it when you don't have an item in stock. Amazon really hates it. But I have had success in the past where, I ended up with an out of stock defect and it ended up leading to a negative feedback. And I told eBay, like, listen, I've sold thousands of items. I've always had them in stock. I fumbled this time. I try to make things right. I really would appreciate it if somehow we can, make this negative feedback go away. That sounds so shady right there, but it's over the phone. And guess what? I've had it done, right? This was years ago. This isn't even like before Pure Soul Podcast or anything. I don't think there is like a influence thing or like a thing that comes up, right? It's Rally Roots that called better remove all negative feedbacks.
Now the bigger influencers may have a little bit
like Craigslist Hunter. He doesn't even have to call. He just like text somebody at eBay. It's like removed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It happens, right?
All right. Next, and we talked about this already.
Yeah, take the loss. Sometimes you just have to take the loss. I can't tell you how many times this has happened where I've sent something. The customer says like, "Hey, maybe something was wrong with the item. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm a little iffy that they caused an issue." But especially there's times where it's worth it to say, ship it back, because a lot of times you can deal with the scammers. But there's other times where it's like, you know what? If that's true, if it's missing a piece, if something's broken on it, I'm not going to resell it, right? If it's actually broken or something's wrong, by the time I pay, if I have to pay for shipping back, if they end up doing an INAD or something like that, I pay the shipping back. I throw the item away or try and resell it again. I'm going to end up losing even more money. Sometimes it's worth it just to go, you know what? I'm sorry this happened. I'm going to give you a refund. Keep the item, right? Because you can turn something that could be an INAD, that could be a very upset customer to, you know what? I lost the $40 and I'm not going to get that money back. But this customer might give me positive feedback and say, hey, something happened, but this good seller, they made it right. Instead of saying like, nope, sorry, you're going to have to pay the $15.99 to ship that back. You're only asking for trouble when that happens. So especially if it's something that went wrong or you're a little iffy about it, or you're potentially, sometimes you just run the numbers and it's not worth having them pay to ship it back and trying to resell it again. There are definitely times where it's worth it. Ship it back, I'll resell it and I'll make even more money. That's happened to you several times. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you take the loss, and you take the loss with a smile. You do it gracefully, and you'd be surprised how many times that gets you positive feedback, and or eBay saying, yeah, we'll remove the negative feedback. You refunded them and let them keep the item. Like, what more can they complain about?
Agreed. Now this last one. Okay. So you have to think about this in the context of keeping platforms on your site, and it's never give up on keeping your reputation at its highest, right? I think, and it's hard because some of us, it hasn't happened to me yet, but I know people that are awesome resellers that have like the 99.6% feedback on eBay, right? On Amazon, I have, I think it's a 96% last I saw on my feedback, right? But here's the thing. Like I see I had somebody the other day, and you're probably listening, had DM me and said, hey, Orlando, I did everything I could. I messaged the buyer. I offered free return. I contacted eBay, And eBay said, we can't do anything to remove the negative feedback. And I replied, no. Message eBay for Business, on Facebook. Let them know that you offered the return, that you did everything to make things right, and to ask them to remove the feedback. And they did. They did what I told them to do, and it was removed. But this is why I'm so adamant about this, is that it's a lot easier for eBay to work with you if you have, let's say, a 99.6 or a 98 or 100%, than if you're just like, you know what, negative feedback, no big deal. Even if I'm at 95%, whatever, it's all good. It's still high. But here's the thing. Every single time that you make that call, right, and you don't get that removed, your number goes lower and lower and lower. Where if you just fought for every single one, and let's say you won 50% of the time, when you call eBay, they don't have a record of every single time you call them. I mean, they could actually.
They probably do.
Well, no, but not in the initial screen, right? Oh, maybe they do. Maybe I don't know. Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is this, is that I'm guaranteeing, I'm pretty sure that the eBay rep is going to be more willing to consider removing the negative feedback if you have a high feedback rating than if you have a low feedback rating. Yeah. Right? So if you can keep every single one off as much as you can, the better it's going to work in your favor when you contact eBay, right? One thing you'll always be able to go say is like, hey, I sell hundreds of items. I sell 1,000 items. My feedback is at 98%, which is a extremely high number based on how much I sell. Do know that I wasn't trying to scam. I wasn't trying to pull, the wool over anybody's eyes. I was trying to make things right. And that sounds better than, I sell a lot and I know my feedback's not the greatest, but I really wasn't trying to do like that. That falls flat, right? You want to keep your reputation at its highest every single time you call. So you fight every single negative feedback.
And it's going to help you with your customers buying stuff from you too. I mean, if I'm buying something, I'm a little iffy, especially if it's like used electronic. I'm going to look at the person's store. And if they've got 100% feedback, 1,000 sales, great comments, I'm more willing to buy from them than if the person has 94% feedback and a couple negatives and people like, this person sold me something that was fake or didn't work. So even that, if you're trying to stay on the platform's good side, part of the platform is the customers using that platform. So keeping that higher feedback rating, there's sometimes I don't care at all. I don't even look. I'm looking for my item and I buy it. But if it's something expensive, I'm definitely looking at what's the feedback of this person.
Yeah, because the thing is, you never know. I've had moments where, I've gotten like 3 negative feedbacks in a month. Right now, had I not fought all my other ones, right, and I was like at a 95%, and I call them like, hey, listen, I got these weird negative feedbacks. I never get negative. Well, I can't say that anymore. I can't say I never get negative feedback, or I can't say it's very rare for me to get these. Now it just looks like it's the way I run my business, right? So chances are that the platform where it's going to be on your side are actually less, right? And it's the same thing with Amazon. Like Amazon, I don't even know how Amazon allows sellers to have like 50% or 76%. I see them all the time, but I'm pretty sure if you're getting close to suspension, or if you're in a bad scenario with Amazon, but your feedback is pretty high, I'm pretty sure you have a greater voice than if you had a 50% or a 76% on your Amazon account. So you always want to do everything you can to keep your reputation at the highest point. So hopefully all these have helped all the way from, not trying to shortcut the system, dealing with bad buyers, to emergency scenarios. Again, tread lightly, not financial advice, just something that we have done to help our own businesses grow and to keep eBay and Amazon and Poshmark and every single platform that we use on our side. With that being said, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling. Blades.
Peace.